microphone is working. Shit. Hi, and welcome back to the Inside of My Head, where I finally got round to watching Pacific Rim the Black again, making part 2 of my in-depth analysis of the series. Now, the reason it took so long was that I had this whole thing made and edited when the hard drive that the project was on died and flush. 3 terabytes of data flushed up the down the in fact. So it's taken me a while to summon the energy to do the whole edit over again, especially as the next few eps are pretty heavy emotionally. And that's seriously no exaggeration. It really ratchets up here. So apologies to anybody who was waiting for this video. I doubt that there were many, to be honest, because no one really gives a shit about my channel. So check out part 1 if you're in need of a refresher. But in short, I left off at the end of episode 3 with Shane helping out and revealing that the kid's long-lost mother had actually been under the control of the Sisters of the Kaiju the whole time. And I mean, whatever it is they're doing to these poor women, I guess it's injecting them with Kaiju Blue in a similar ceremony to what we see boys subjected to later in the ep. It turns them into snarling feral beasts. So this started me thinking, like, how did this whole process start? Like, did the High Priestess accidentally get injected with Kaiju Blue one day or splashed with it or something and she was like, oh, whoa, this is actually kind of cool? Or did she just wake up one morning and went, you know what, I really love Kaiju. I'm going to take some of their blood and stab it into my veins and see what happens. Like a 95, 97% chance it's going to kill me, but, you know, there's still that 3% chance that something cool might happen. So, yeah, let's give it a go. But actually, I have a theory about the origins of this here woman. I hesitate to call her a woman anymore. I feel like the term woman doesn't apply to her anymore. But I have a theory about her origins, so I'm going to put that in my next video. Oh, holy goddamn, I forgot the YouTuber plug. Subscribe to the channel! Because I don't have many reasons. Do you think you could you do it, please? That would just, you know, just to be nice. Shane offers to drift with their mother to find whatever remnants of her personality is left. Remember, Shane had different uses for drifting, as seen in season 1, where he uses it for purposes of interrogation, brainwashing, and God knows what else. Whoa, I can see inside your mind. Oh my God, you are filthy. And personally, I'm really glad that the drift is shown in this respect. Like, if society did invent the tech to be able to invade somebody's mind or meld two people's minds together, it would pervade every single level of society. Like, you'd be constantly in fear of having your mind remotely hacked. I feel that Pacific Rim has always underplayed it. Like, it would actually be a much more prominent element in society than what we see here. And yes, I know their priority is fighting the big giant monsters, but still. So I'm really glad that through the Shane story arc, it's shown to have some other uses, you know, and misuses. And it's here that we see Shane start to change. Well, not change exactly, but it's here that we get to see another side of him. All we've seen up until this point is this cold merc who only seems obsessed with his own power. And he goes from that to doing something selfless, as May asks him not to ask for anything in return for his help. Here, she's asking him to demonstrate that he actually wants to be a father figure to her, instead of just being in control of her. So he kind of reluctantly goes into the drift to search for the remains of Brina's character, but once he's in there, and he sees the flashback of Brina leading the attacking kaiju away from her wounded husband, putting her life in certain peril so that the father can go back to the kids, Shane sees firsthand the self-sacrifice that a parent is meant to make for their family, and obviously, something clicks within him. He watches a scene where Brina gives baby Taylor the key to her heart to tell him that she would always have time for him even after the birth of his baby sister. And I'd completely forgotten about this scene, and damn, it's utterly heartbreaking, especially when Brina tells Shane that this precious memory would be erased once they left this place. And that gut-wrenching feeling only got worse when Shane took Brina and threw her towards the exit, meaning that he was left behind to be consumed by the abyss of her mind. Oh my God, I have to go through this again. Brina wakes up, but everyone slowly realizes that Shane is gone. And if you're anything like me, you start to wonder how you ended up feeling bad for this guy. Like, it was quite a quick swing. Like, how did you spend a whole season being led to believe that this guy was the villain, being made to hate the guy, and in the space of one episode, you're really sad that he's dead? I almost started wishing that we'd seen more of him, like what his background was that led him to this point. We know that he had a military background that was mentioned somewhere in season 1, I think it was, but what exactly would possess someone to steal a child to bring her up as his own? That's the real question. Could he have lost a child of his own somewhere along the line? That would be something that would fuck him up in all the ways, resulting in this lust for power and, more importantly, control, and lead him to try and rectify past mistakes with another child. I mean, I guess we will never know. Brina wakes up, but everyone slowly realizes, oh wait, no, I've read that bit already. Another thing that comes out is his bond with Spider, a character that I really loved and also wanted to see more of. Spider really seems to have cared for Shane too, and reveals that Shane knew that he wasn't coming back.
Shane! That man cannot be dead. You hear me? You're wrong. He's Shane!
As the sisters continue their ceremony to convert Boy to rise as the Kaiju Messiah, Boy telepathically calls in Apex, who passes Bogan by instead of choosing to attack the military base, even after being fired upon. He prioritizes saving Boy. Now this to me reinforces the change in his thinking. As aggressive as Apex is, normally he would have ripped this place to pieces, but no, now Boy is more important. Then we see the sisters paving the entrance to their shrine with human skulls, which really reminded me of those catacombs under Paris that are full of skulls from, I think, the Black Death years. It's incredible. Morbid as all hell, but, incredible. And what is this? I mean, obviously a trespasser skull, obviously. But do you think it's the original trespasser? Or another one of the hybrids? Now, I find them having this base here quite interesting. As we know from Aftermath, they had their main base in the middle of Los Angeles, I think it was, where the old Tower Records used to be, in the Yamarashi skull. So I wonder if they have different headquarters on different continents.
They're setting up franchises.
And I don't know if they just collecting these things, like walking around, picking up skulls, putting them in a basket, bringing them back home. Because yeah, we love skulls, they think they're just nice to decorate with. But either way, it makes you realize how lethal an antagonist this organization is. Brina goes into their headquarters to find Boy, but gets knocked out, and the High Priestess takes her under her mind control again. The High Priestess tells her that she must be the one to take care of the intruders, and that is pretty harsh, sending her to murder her own kids. That's what we're dealing with here, yeah. You must murder your own children. Okay. You don't have any kaiju blue in you yet. Okay. Wait, I don't understand. Did you take a bump on the head or something? Okay. But since her mind was freed by Shane, Brina was always wavering, always one step away from succumbing to the lure of the High Priestess. Almost like when the High Priestess is in your mind, you can never really get rid of it. Almost like an addiction. Almost like those meds that I tried one time and I just spring up in random conversation. Oh yeah, but Tuchel was playing all the wrong formations, didn't he? They spent 250 mil. Nah, but he just won the Champions League. They shouldn't sack him already. Codeine, where's my codeine? Give me my codeine. Luckily, she doesn't stay brainwashed for long and ends up fighting off 2 kaiju dogs so the kids can escape. With Boy back to Atlas Destroyer. And even though she pulls off some really badass John Wick moves, she's very badly wounded. And that's where this episode ends. Fuck, here we go. One of the biggest kicks in the balls that the Black has to offer, because the next ep starts with Atlas arriving at Sydney base to be greeted by the dad and the safety of the PPDC. Everything about this sequence feels authentic. The way Boy comes around, the way the music swells as they arrive at the base, the reunion with the dad, it's paced in a way that feels like, oh, this is their actual arrival home. Now I'm curious to see where it's going to go from here and how we're going to spend the next few eps. But of course, you know the twist by now, and that heart monitor beeping that shatters the whole illusion, and the reveal that their mother was unable to be saved. Anyway, shortly after that, we get Loa's big moment explaining her freakout from Season 1, as she explains that as one of the first AIs fitted to a Jaeger, her emotion chip caused her to freeze in fear and her pilots to take full control, and whoever they were killed in battle, and Loa blamed herself for their loss. Like, why is she blaming herself? Like, I feel like the pilots should have been able to handle themselves just like all the other pilots that came before her. Unless this particular Jaeger was very reliant on the AI so that when she failed, like half the systems died or something. Maybe that was it. But other than that, I feel it's like an overreaction. And again, this is what happens when you give machinery emotions. Like, what are we going to get? A Jaeger called Strider Procrastinator who lies in bed awake at night thinking, oh my god, I shouldn't have said that thing in that conversation in front of all the female Jaegers as well. Oh my god, now I look so stupid. Like, why can't I just say something funny and witty and cool in front of people? It's every time there's people there in front of it. This happens to me all the time, by the way. The sisters trigger Boy's mutation again, and he starts trying to beat Atlas's head in. And it's weird because he's pretty small, and although he's strong for his size, he's still a juvenile. which really makes me want to know what his adult form would have looked like and how powerful he would have been. Considering the way he's worshipped by the sisters, I'm fairly sure he would have been the largest, most powerful hybrid that's ever been. As we know, it's here that Apex intervenes and gives his life to save Boy in another gut-wrenching moment. It's especially frustrating because A, it feels like Apex is just kind of letting this happen because he didn't want to risk hurting Boy, and B, just at the worst possible moment, Loa experiences a breakdown of some kind and takes an agonizingly long time to reboot her systems. Had this not happened, Atlas would have been able to at least lend enough of a hand so that Apex wouldn't have taken such a pasting, and Apex freezes in his pose, his hand outstretched in this kind of reaching out pose, and just like that, we've been robbed of possibly the series' coolest character. A unique life form that we'll never get to know any more about. Man, this show is so cruel. I feel like this death was a noble one for sure, but I'm mainly left feeling like it could so easily have been avoided. This moment hit me, and hit me hard. Like, I really did not see this coming. And I know I'm not the only one. Anyway, now that Boy is back on the light side, the kids make a run for Sydney Base with a High Priestess and a hybrid kaiju in pursuit. One of the kaiju eels appears out of nowhere, having burrowed underground, and could they always burrow like this? I don't remember seeing them do that in season 1. But anyway, Atlas makes short work of the first kaiju, showing how the pilot's saber chain skills are growing. And I'm still a little sore that they didn't give Atlas another weapon upgrade in here somewhere. I guess the idea that they're pushing is that resources are scarce and you're not just going to stumble upon Jaeger parts just anywhere. So I get that, I get that. But it would have been nice to, I don't know, see a secondary function of the saber chain, even like maybe saber lasso? No, that's shit. Electrified saber chain. Ooh, yeah, that's better. Then Boy snaps the neck of the second kaiju eel with such ease that again, you have to wonder what he's going to be able to do when he's full grown. Even with a small army of hybrids and rippers pursuing the siblings, the sister escalate things even further by summoning Cat 6 Breacher, which I've talked about plenty in my previous vids, so I won't dwell too much on them in this vid. If you haven't seen those already, go check them out. The PPDC are definitely using drones now, so you wonder whether they have binned off the remnants of the Jaeger program altogether at this stage and are only using drones, or whether they're using like half and half. We all like half and half. Adult joke for adults, yeah. Anyway, what follows is yet another emotional pummeling for the audience as Breacher utterly dismantles Atlas. The Jaeger that we've come to know and love over the past 20-odd eps is utterly outmatched and crushed, one punch at a time. Breacher rips Atlas's arm off like really, really slowly, and I mean by this stage you just want Atlas to be put out of its misery. Also, something that I noticed here that I haven't noticed before is like Jaeger blood. I know that it's supposed to be hydraulic fluids, I know that, but I've never seen it sort of like gushing out like this when Jaegers have had, a smackdown put on them. And by throwing this element in here, it really adds to the horror of the whole scene. By having this thing spewing something that looks like blood really adds to the personification of what is ultimately an inanimate object. Atlas isn't a person, it's not real, it doesn't have feelings, but the fact that it's got Loa, which gives it emotions to a certain extent, plus it's got something that looks like blood, subconsciously makes you think, my friend is dying here. Then Loa says a heartfelt goodbye to her pilots as she sets her self-destruct and ejects the siblings.
It has been an honor.
And on an emotional level, it's a pretty good ending, isn't it? I mean, it's such a good ending that I almost overlooked how easily this blast vaporized the Breacher. Because if you look back at, for example, Slattern and the size of the explosion it was able to withstand at the end of the 2013 movie, you would think that a Cat 6 would be able to withstand this. Perhaps because it's a hybrid means that it's weaker in certain aspects, like stronger in some other aspects. But yeah, I was able to overlook this because at times I caught myself thinking, is this the best ending of anything in Pacific Rim? The original movie, comics, the dad's flimsy excuse of not being allowed to leave Sydney Base aside, I would say yes. I think the ending of this tops the ending of the original movie. That, the still vague details on Boy's origin, and the Breacher vaporizing thing, none of those shortcomings changes the fact that I ended up caring about these characters, like, a lot, and I felt their losses with them. I still had this nagging thought in my memory of spoiled brat Haley setting off all of the alarms in Shadow Basin and getting everyone killed, added to all the tantrums that she threw throughout the eps. Like, all that did make me wonder why the group would so easily put themselves in harm's way based on the over-emotional whims of a child. But once I'd seen this ending, I kind of forgave her a little bit. Not forgive exactly, but kind of just shelve that for a bit on the side. So let's leave that there for now, guys. I'm going to start work on a video right now about the origin of the High Priestess. I've got a good theory about that. Plus, I'm going to do a theory video of what happened to all of these characters after the events of the Black. Where did they go from here? Dudes and dudettes, do not forget that next year is the 10-year anniversary of the original Pacific Rim movie. So I'll definitely be doing something special round about then. But if you can't wait until then, give me a couple of weeks, because I'm currently working on a video about the Benicio del Toro Pacific Rim sequel that never was. That one should be a really, really good one, so make sure you stay tuned to the channel for that. Okay, it's time for me to take my meds, so let me kindly invite you to get out of my head, and I will see you very soon for the next one. Thank you very much for watching, and cheerio, bye.